Good morning, everyone. So, pretty much since I posted that we were going to live stream, I have been working on stuff for the stream because I worked like a crazy day yesterday. And then I haven't even finished my coffee. Shout out to Tinkerbell, new mug. And yeah, it's been a fun morning, but we have a gigantic list of names. I mean, this is pretty wild. Let me show you guys this real quick. That's 139 entrants on this from pretty much the last month of content, I think. I think it dates back to about a month now, so it took us a month to hit 200, which is sweet from 100. I see comments already. I'm not noticing. Hold, please. What's up? What's up, Clayton? What's up, Jacob? Shout out to you guys. I think you two are the most names on this list, if I realized correctly. You're on there a lot. I can tell you that much. So shout out to you guys for always supporting and giving us love. I think we're gonna wait a little bit to spin the wheel. I'm more or less just finishing my coffee before I go on a gigantic tangent of all 7 of these cards I have to review. Definitely need the coffee. Had a long ass work day yesterday. And then my daughter Lily will actually help us spin the wheel because she likes the wheels. So does my son, but he's not here. He's at school, but that's okay. So we're going to do it in a little bit. You want to say hi, though? Here, look, Granny.
Boo.
And say hi to everyone.
Hi.
So are you going to help me spin the wheel soon?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're going to spin it a little bit. Daddy's going to do some card reviews, and then we'll spin it.
Ooh.
All right, see you later. I am not at work, so I can yet see. Morning streams are good for Clayton. All right, so we're going to add this to the stream. I'm getting all the way back to the eels to work through these. I wish I had a little bit more time this morning. I actually forgot to tell Scott to do this. I wanted to do a SWOT analysis on if you get both of the eels, but we don't have that. So I'll probably just talk about it as we go through it. But nonetheless, let's get into it. Let's break down these guys, right? So Flotsam, Ursula's Spy is a 5-cost, uninkable amethyst card, and he has 3 strength, 4 willpower, has the ability to rush. He has the special ability for Dexterous Lunge, which is your character's name Jetsam gain rush, and he has 2 lore. For a 5-cost uninkable, his stats are meh. Having rush makes him like worse than even cards at his cost that are also uninkable that have a different ability, which is Beast. So while it's interesting and fine, it's definitely better if you can, in combination with him, with his brother and friend eel. But we'll get into it. Strength is rush, solid stats for card advantage. Combining with Jetsam gives you a very solid evasive challenger, 2 lore, evergreen ability in addition. Yeah, this was my what's up? What is up, Vin? How you doing this morning? My big addition for the card and the strengths, honestly, was the fact that their ability is evergreen, which is what I really like. So, later on as we go through this and there's more Jetsams and more Flotsams, this ability will, correlate to all these characters, which I think is very interesting. Now, granted, I have no idea how many times they're going to make these eels, but every time they make the eel, we get, another chance at these cards kind of coming back in and getting some more love. The weakness of the card is it's uninkable. You really need Jetsam in play to make him worth the 5-cost uninkable. Even then, he still cannot trade with, on-cost evasive like Goofy. So like you can't kill Goofy. You still trade in really poorly to a bunch of 5s and even a lot of 4s. So he's very good at, capitalizing on other types of characters. If he has the evasive, he can come in and get rid of Pongo, which I guess is fine. But nonetheless, The opportunity is to combine with Jetsam for maximum value, play in decks that keep the board clear for solid rush removal characters with threat level lore. He does have 2 lore, which isn't the worst thing ever. And then the threats, of course, is if Jetsam cannot stay in play, a lot of the floatsome value is lost. I'm going to go right into our next wonderful dude, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about them together, because I think you have to kind of talk about these guys together, in my opinion. Good morning, guys. Welcome to the stream. And so we're going to go right into this, and then we'll come back and we'll evaluate both these guys together, because I think you kind of have to. So Jetsam Ursula Spy is a 4-cost inkable character, 3 strength, 3 willpower, 1 lore, evasive, and then he has Sinister Slither, which your character's name floatsome gain evasive. So our strengths here are solid stats for evasive character, inkable, very good in combo with floatsome, more reasons to keep Pongo in the binder. Evergreen with floatsome is additional, as we stated, as for Jetsam. You know, both Jetsam and floatsome both have the evergreen value with their abilities, which is very nice. Weaknesses taken out by popular other 3-drops, Peter Pan and Smash. Even with Rush, cannot afford to challenge often enough to create card advantage. Like, you know, this card loses to Zeus, loses to Rafiki, you know, loses to like Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse, in all honesty. So he doesn't trade very, very well at his cost. So you have to really hope that your evasive is what's going to save this card. We'll have to see. Opportunity is to pair with floatsome for maximum value. Value is more in giving floatsome evasive than himself getting rush. Solid answer to opposing evasives if you are not playing Amethyst Steel. And then the threats are most playable opposing evasives just run over, you know, Goofy, Genie, Peter Pan, other things. So while these cards, you know, are pretty interesting and they definitely work really, really well together, them being apart, it's kind of hard to like truly assess like where their power level is going to be. I like the fact of the evergreen, which I stated earlier, like the idea that you can constantly like reinvigorate these characters throughout the lifespan of Disney Lorcana is really sweet and interesting. It's something we haven't seen a ton of outside of Shift characters. So like these characters are just as evergreen as Shift because of that ability, which I really love. But you know, the current power level on these guys is it's a bit, it leaves a lot. You know, Amethyst is lacking in evasive characters for the most part. This guy is fine against the Rafiki and Zeus, which I mispointed earlier, because you can get around them, which is nice. Personally, if we end up with sideboards, which we still don't know yet because we don't have the comprehensive rules guide, I think these characters will be really phenomenal for sideboarding, just because it'll give you a different avenue in like some types of mid-range and some types of control matchups where you're like, oh, okay, well, if my opponent's just going to run Rafiki and Zeus, then I'll take out my 4s and my 5s that are losing to those cards, and I will put these guys in, and then they'll have an evasive threat, which is very nice because some of these decks, you know, like the Tinkerbell decks and things like that, they don't have a lot of great answers to evasive cards, which is why, you know, even like the Ruby Emerald evasive deck right now is pretty stellar because Tinkerbell can't get to you, which is great. But all in all, I'm a little worried about these characters right up front. They feel a little bit out of sync with some of the better things that you can be doing, in all honesty. Let's get into our next guy. King Triton. This is this art is just so good. I'm gonna make it bigger. His smirk and face is so sly. It makes me laugh like every single time. I really, really do enjoy it. And there's a lot to be gained, I think, with this art. His body is insanity. I mean, like this 9 willpower is nuts. So Triton the Steel King is a 7-cost inkable sapphire card, 5 strength, 9 willpower, 2 lore, and he is blank, which is fine, guys. I know I've said this before. There's a lot of vanilla characters, and that's okay because some of these vanilla characters, the stats on them, they carry weight. And I'm not sure a lot of people have really, like, I think they're very much underestimating challenging and like how important it is for characters to get through a turn or get through 2 turns. So a lot of these vanilla characters with these gigantic asses and like the ones with fair stat lines, like this guy having 5 strength is good. It trades with a lot of cards, and his 9 willpower keeps him around for multiple turns. It basically reads, you have to utilize your removal card on me, your Dragonfire, your Let It Go, or I'm going to 2 for 1 you, or I'm going to 3 for 1 you. And if you don't deal with me then, I'm still 2 lore. Like, these cards have to go a long way to get out of it. And yes, it doesn't have an ability right away, but its ability is staying power. So you got to think about that, when you're really evaluating these cards, in my opinion. All right. So 9 willpower, inkable, 2 lure, late game threat that is very hard for certain decks to deal with, will create card advantage versus popular strategies. Playing him out early through ramp will allow him to control the board. Scott, you wrote bore, not board. It's fine. We find these problems all the time. Weakness, cost 7. We are in a very late game, and compared to some 7 drops, he still is just a BDI. Guys, just so we're clear, BDI means big dumb idiot. It's a term that Scott and I use all the time. So if you ever see BDI in anything, that's what it is. 5 strength means it cannot even trade with some 5 drops below curve. Specifically, there's definitely a few of them that it can't trade with, but it does trade with most, which is the real good thing about this guy. The opportunity is steal AoE package combined with Let It Go. Give Sapphire a solid late game finisher that is nearly impossible for some decks to deal with. He may see play as a 1-2 of in these lists. King Synergy. That's another thing here. There are several kings now. We keep hoping for basically like any synergy that's more than just princess, prince, inventor, king. I mean, the list goes on. I think ally even. So there's all these like subtype names that we're still hoping for some stuff. So let's, we'll see what happens. Threats are 5 cost removal. We'll take him out of the field, and you need to pair likely with steel to keep the board clean in the current metagame. While that's probably true, we'll have to see. He's gigantic, right? I want to still keep him up here. He's gigantic, which is awesome because 9 health on a 7 cost is pretty ridiculous. And like I said, he's going to be around. So like when he hits play, he's going to like not die right away unless they do waste their Dragonfire, which by all these arguments, you're like, okay, well, if they Dragonfire my King Triton, that means whatever I play next is way better than King Triton. It means that they had to waste their removal on King Triton. And if they don't waste their removal on King Triton, well, then you have a 2 lore character that's repeatable every turn that also has 9 health. So it's a lot. I think the guy is a little bit better than we're truly giving credit for, but we'll see. All right. So our next guy is, All right. We're going to take a drink for this one because it's grab your sword. Okay. As we can see, there's a lot of text on this one, guys. His card is really good. I mean, all right. Grab Your Sword is a 5 cost, uninkable steel song. Just for the reminders at home, a character with 5 cost or more can tap to sing this card, or, spoiler, there's a card coming up ahead that can tap, and it's only a 3 cost. How about that? New keyword, guys. I'm so excited. Tard is trash. You're out of your mind. Okay, listen, sir. I think there's something wrong with your coffee this morning. I just have to disagree with you. All right. So the strength, 2 damage to only your opponent's board. All right. That's cool. This was fair as an uninkable or as an inkable 2 damage to both boards, let alone just your opponent's board. It's a song. You can play it by exerting a 5-drop character and still have all your ink available for the turn. Allows you to play very few low-end characters in decks and still not be overwhelmed with shift characters. The way damage works in Lorcana, being permanent, means you will always be gaining value even without immediately banishing opposing characters. The weakness. We are reaching a critical mass of uninkable and steel alone, let alone to combine with other ink colors. In existence, forces players or forces people to play in and build around it to potentially a victim of its own success. The opportunity here is it combines perfect with Tinkerbell, the Great Fairy, to set up 3 damage to just your opponent's board. Great combo with Cerebus because he is gigantic on curve, Stitch, Rockstar, RAP. I don't know that he's completely dead, but it's definitely in some trouble right now. It probably needs a lot more health. Threats probably needs to be combined with additional removal in case you cannot draw a way of playing it before turn 5. Maybe drawing too many uninkables to play on curve. So yeah, as Scott's noting here in the chat, this was created I think Monday or Tuesday, so I fell behind. I knew I was going to do a bunch of these things on Friday, but I didn't think we were going to get up to 7. But Ariel really only added another way to play this card on turn 4, which, like, you can just spend the first 3 turns almost playing Be Our Guest or, you know, playing literally just like anything and kind of just ignoring your opponent's board. Because if you have your Tinkerbells and you have your Grab Your Swords and you just like have a random fire their cannons or something like that, like whatever you're doing in those moments, you don't even need to care, because all of a sudden like turn 4 is going to hit and now you have 2 different ways. Now if you are playing Amber, you'll have 2 different ways to just flat out play this card on turn 4, which is insanity. And then if you have the Tinkerbell route with whatever follow-up that you're going to have past Tinkerbell, you have, you know, the Tinkerbell, you have Cerebus, you have, you know, even like a Kronos later on in the game that can tap for this. You're not going to feel too bad about, or Kronk, sorry. You're not going to feel too bad about tapping just to like get rid of stuff. There's just so many ways to utilize this card that it's insane. And the fact that there is no drawback to your side of the board is also quite insane, because it's almost like telling your opponent, like, hey, I'm just going to keep luring you because I already know that I can just tap my guy and remove your entire board. So if you don't challenge my characters, you're only giving me even more opportunity to just get further ahead in the game. It's a very threatening card. It's going to be potentially a defining card in the entire landscape of the metagame. We're going to need to start seeing cards with more willpower that you can even truly utilize. And granted, listen, I understand, right? There's a metagame to everything. And I'm not saying that you can't play rush decks and you can't play aggro decks and all those things. I'm not really saying that, but you have to already understand that there's now 2 cards that work in concert with one another that will always be a threat to your game plan. And that's insanity. The way the mulligan rule works in this game, you have even more opportunity to find it. The combination with Amethyst and just the sheer draw power that you're going to get is just so unfair that to like bank on your opponent not having these things is really difficult. And in a game where resources are low, and if you're playing a 1 cost, 2 cost, 3 cost, and they all just gets removed from 1 card from your opponent, you're out so many resources, and the lore you got will not matter. Like, the only thing that's important to get your opponent to 20. It doesn't matter if you get your opponent to 18 or 19. So when you have to start considering, like, man, do I take a risk and play this card that's going to die on turn 4 or turn 5, and all I'm getting at it is like 3 lore? It's really hard to make that claim. It's really, really hard to make that, because if you don't have a way to follow up, and all of these steel decks, whatever you're wherever you're combining it with, Amethyst or Ruby, you know, like even Amber, realistically, you're going to have ways to follow up this AoE, which is the more oppressive thing, right? It's like, not only can I just AoE the board and it's just your side, whatever I'm playing afterwards is gigantic. It's powerful. It's getting constant 2-for-1 trades for the rest of the game. And that's the real scary thought, is that this card being in steel, only hitting your opponent's side of the board, it's very incredible. I only played like 3 games with it the other night because it's been a busy week, but in all those games, I'm like, man, this card's nuts. So we got a bunch. Let's spin our wheel. We're gonna go back to this. Let me get Lily real quick. I'm gonna mute myself for a second. All right, so we are bringing the guest
Boo!
hostess on. We're gonna bring her on. Lily, say hello to stream here.
Hello, lol.
Lol, we're calling lol. Why are we saying lol?
I don't know.
You don't know. All right, you want to spin the wheel now?
Yeah.
All right, ready? So, go ahead. Just hit.
Where's my mouth?
Your mouse is right here. Go ahead, boom, do it. You're deciding the fate. There it is. Lily is deciding our fate. All right, so congrats to Tyler Spinanza, which is hilarious that we spun a wheel and his name is Spinazza. I will reach out to you on the comment. I'll respond there. But if you're watching this video, you're watching the stream, just send me a message, comment here, let me know. I'll definitely find you regardless. But congrats. We will we'll reach out to you and get you your pack of Disney 100 sleeves. Thank you guys so much. And honestly, guys, like on this entrant, like on this list, there was 139 entries. I just removed one. That's a lot of comments, a lot of support. Thank you guys so much for helping us get to 200. It's been a lot of fun. Been a great time, and I really hope you guys are enjoying the content. Let's get back to our cards. We'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of this. We'll see you later. And Scott saying aggro is unplayable can't be true, right? This is a running joke, guys. All right? This is like 10 years in the running, probably. All right. So we have Anna. And I had a really busy day at work yesterday. And this card came out. And I was so excited. This is the card, if you guys go back to like our second podcast when we had the Lumineers on. And I wanted Anna. I did. Like, Anna's one of my favorite characters in Disney. And I am just so very upset with this card. So very upset. The art is great. I love it. But yeah, man, let's break her down. Anna, heir to Arendelle. She's a 4-cost inkable amethyst card, 2 strength, 4 willpower, 2 lore with the ability of Loving Heart, which is a great name for this ability. When you play this character, if you have a character named Elsa in play, choose an opposing character. The chosen character doesn't ready at the start of their next turn. So locking down cards is great, but her not being able to tap the card herself sucks. Her needing Elsa in play to even get this ability sucks. And yeah, I'm not happy about it, guys. I'm very upset about it. Strength, 2 lore, inkable, 4 is on curve willpower. With Elsa, with Elsa, you can stall the board a bit for a rusher / AoE. Good later game in lore trading. It has this nice ability to tap stuff down late in the game and maybe pursue your board in lore, which is nice. Even if you're just tapping like a Mickey Mouse or something like that, or a Maui.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, it most of all, it's mostly meh. So the weakness here is you need Elsa in play for full effect. Even with Elsa, the effect is mediocre. Would rather just banish it as in play exerted character. That would have been a lot better. That's not what we got. The opportunity here is pair with Elsa, pair with Steel to keep the exerted characters around to be taken care of by Tinkerbell, or grab your sword without spending a card on them. The threats here is while she may survive combat with most 4-drops, she is not that exciting.
Right, I'll just have this.
And yeah, the whole point is that she's mostly meh. Yeah, I don't think you're getting enough for this card. And comparative to like Zeus or even just Jafar, in my opinion, like she's not going to do enough. She's super situational, which is really depressing. Her best utilization is late in the game just to swing lore curves. And at that point, you still have to like hope your Elsa is sitting around to even get the most out of it. It's a lot of like ifs and not enough security for me. And that's like the worst part about this card is I like, the flavor of it and all of those things. I just wish that she could tap things when she came in. The fact that like she can't even tap them kind of sucks. The fact that you also need Elsa doesn't really help. And while it's all flavorful and the art looks great, and honestly her stats aren't even that terrible, and she has 2 lore, I just don't think this card is going to make the cut. I will be really shocked if this card ends up making cuts in like once we get all the cards spoiled. I don't even want to play it now, and we only have half the cards spoiled. So I don't know. We'll get in the next one. Okay, so Ariel Spectacular Singer is a 3-cost inkable character, 2 strength, 3 willpower, 1 lore. We have a brand new keyword, which is Singer, which is very interesting. I was talking about this a little bit with Scott. The fact that we are over halfway into spoilers for the card, for the set, and we're just learning about a new keyword is kind of awesome. Talk about holding secrets, holding it tight to your chest. That's awesome. So it's pretty great that we're getting a brand new keyword. I would have been fine with not even having another keyword in the set, but now we have it. So let's make the best of it, right? So Singer 5, what Singer does is that this character counts as a cost 5 to sing songs. So basically this character as a 3 cost will be able to exert and play Let It Go, play Grab Your Sword, and honestly anything that comes out after that. You're probably right. I have no doubt there, B Squared. I kind of hope so. So yeah, like it's really interesting, and honestly, I really like the keyword a bunch, to be truthful, because like what this means is, I think this was the same thing during that podcast. Scott was mentioning that he wanted, like an Illumiere that made songs cost less or something like that. Well, now an Illumiere very likely has this Singer ability, in my opinion, because it makes perfect sense for his character and his role. So like he might be like a 2 cost that can sing up to 4 like a 4 cost song or something, which I think is really cool. I like that it has like the specific number, which means you could realistically make a 1 cost character that can sing a 5 or a 3 or a 4 or a 5 cost song, which is very interesting. It'll definitely make those characters more impactful later in the game, as well as like, all right, well, maybe on 5 I still want to play this card, so on 4 I'm just gonna be like, oh, here's my 1 cost and here's my 3 cost. And then I'll move to my next turn. But my next turn now I can literally just tap a 1 cost character to sing a 5 cost song, and then still have all my inks valid on me. So I really, really like this keyword. I think it's pretty powerful in general. I'm excited to see more cards with this now. So the strength of Ariel is she's inkable. Singer 5 lets you exert on turn 4 for essentially 2 free ink. This allows her to sing Let It Go and Grab Your Sword much earlier than expected. Her come into play, or ETB of digging for songs, means you add consistency to the deck, mimicking pure draw at times even better. So this is like, I didn't even go through this. The ability is Musical Debut, which is when you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a song card and put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So it's basically Be Our Guest, but for songs, which I love, and it's super flavorful. And I also love, we're getting a little bit sidetracked here, but I love that Ariel, all of her cards are like super unique and different, and all just do like totally different things, but they're all still very flavorful. Like her, her Sapphire one, working with items, is really cool. The first Amber one is as a human, where she can't sing, super flavorful. And now this one is the opposite, where it's like all about the song. I really, really do love the kind of like the flow and creativity to the Ariel right now. Super good. Our weakness is low strength for a 3-drop. Not great in Amber's typical weenie strategy. More likely on the Hades / part of your world base control recursion angles. Needs to get a song off her ability, or she is understatic compared to almost every 3-drop in the set, except for, of course, Elsa, who has her own unique ability. The opportunity is currently needs to be paired with Sapphire or Steel for maximum value based on the 5-cost songs. The threats are not drawing an impactful song leaves her valuable to challenges from most 3-drops. Rafiki is a threat. Even if she sings, she is unlikely to stay around. So the card has a lot of good things, and obviously, like with every card, you have to have good, you have to have bad. And I think like obviously she's also a princess, so she can aid into the Moana strategy. If now Moana is getting a little bit better because we've had a few more princesses revealed, especially ones that like have abilities that help the deck in general, like having Ariel be able to find your let it goes so you can kind of get past some of those squeaky parts in the game where your characters are like not staying around. Utilizing your 3 costs to tap to get rid of a card is great, with Let It Go. And we'll have to see. Hopefully, there's more, more songs to come that kind of aid these strategies. But nonetheless, I think like her upside's really, really good. Any card that comes into play that lets you look at top cards of your deck to get some type of resource for and some type of back. You can compare it to Maleficent Sorceress, where yes, all she does is come into play and replace yourself, control her card, but that's what you're trying to do here as well. And you have this other unique ability on top, and on top of that, you have a 3 strength or 3 willpower. So you even trade with that card. So in terms of that, it's really it's really, really good. I think this card's one of the more playable cards. I do the aggro side of Amber is definitely different than this side, and I'm not sure right as it stands right now. I don't think you would play it in like Rockstar decks unless you really have to find Be Our Guest. But we have to see more songs, I think, to really get the most out of that card. But I don't know. Let's move on. So this one, right? This is a really fun one. Gaston came out after myself and Scott and like everyone else that we talked to were already asleep. But hey, I love late night cards. I'm very excited to wake up to a brand new card. I'm never angry about that. And it's Gaston. And this art, I love so many of the Ruby arts, but like how dark and just like overall surrounding the fire, like I love this art on this card. And I'm just so excited. Like the art in this game truly is incredible. I'm looking forward. I really hope we get to see like more of the like full art versions of these. I think it's a slam dunk for promo cards moving somewhere in the future. Just like, yeah, here's full art Gaston and here's whatever it is. Like seeing the entirety of this art would be so sweet. All right, let's break them down though, right? Gaston, Arrogant Hunter, is a 2-cost inkable character with 4 strength, 2 willpower, 0 lore. And then he has the ability of Reckless, which is, of course, this character can't quest and must challenge each turn if able. Couple things to note about this card real quick. And what I really love here is I love that he doesn't have any lore at all, because there's definitely like reasons to evergreen him by making him have lore. So they didn't even decide to do that, which is pretty telling, I think, because there very obviously could be a card that just like removes Reckless or something like that in the future, whether it's like a charm or something like that. Like some ways to just like remove the Reckless ability, or like the status effect of Reckless, I should say. It's really, once again, we've already talked about this. I don't really like Reckless as a keyword because I don't like the precedent of opposing cards gain Reckless, because then it's like this weird stack thing that you have to remember for no reason when your opponent has no interaction on your turn. But when you look at a card like this and how it's designed, you have to realize that either one of two things. They absolutely plan to make a card that removes Reckless, or they have 0 plan to do it, which means if they don't have any reason to do it, then there's no reason for this guy to ever have lore. But if he did have lore, it would have been really interesting to like look at this as an evergreen ability of going, oh, well, when there's some type of charm or removal for Reckless, whatever that comes, like this guy goes up in value. Not the case here. That's fine. Break them down. So the 4 strength for a 2 cost is a great ratio. It's good in the mid to late game, low cost drops to control the board, even if it cannot quest. The weakness is 2 willpower means his Reckless is easily manipulated into a low value target, must be awkward in the late. It might be awkward in the late game. The opportunity is it plays in the mid to late to force your opponent to make bad trades or play themselves off curve. Typically, they're not going to want to be underdropping just to keep up with yours. Combine with your other removal in colors to keep an onboard threat active. Of course, its threats are steel, ink versus steel until extreme late game. There's infinite ways for Steel to interact with this card now, as we continuously see Fire the Cannon, Smash, Grab Your Sword, Tinkerbell, like literally like every card with deal damage on it to an opposing character gets rid of this guy pretty much. So while he does trade up really nice and really well with that 4 strength, it's just is likely that he's going to run into Maleficent Sorceress, and you're just going to be like, oh, I guess I traded for their 3 cost that replaced itself, but eh. And on top of that, he doesn't need, like, they don't even have to trade into him. They're just like, yeah, I'll just send my Maleficent for 1 lore, and now you have to run into it. Doesn't really feel too great. I'm going to I find it really hard for this guy to be truly valuable yet, even with his 4 strength, only because his limiting fact that he has to have Reckless. I really wish it was like he had an ability instead. Like it was just like a like an ability keyword where it's just like, if your opponent has characters in play, this has Reckless. So this way he could still have been like able to lure, even if it was for just 1. Just something a little different to make his Reckless not feel like so detrimental. The fact that this guy, you have to play this guy on 2 and he just never ever has an ability to lure, and your opponent can just send whatever they want with 2 power into lore, and then you have to attack it, doesn't feel super great. So, all in all, that was our last card, right? Yeah. Whew. That was a bit of a marathon. There's 7 new cards today, which is really, really fun. But yeah, it's been fun. The cards keep coming. I imagine that there'll even be more cards a day if we're being honest. But all in all, these cards, we can look back at them real quick. I think that obviously Ariel's very good. Grab Your Sword is obviously insane. I think Triton is not getting enough love, and the eels are at the very least interesting. So, but what how you guys have you guys been able to play with these yet? Like I said, I played a couple games Wednesday night with the Grab Your Sword deck, which was just basically the Steel deck I had been playing since Tinkerbell came out, except I added some Grab Your Swords. Trust me, that was no. I know, Clayton. I know that your marathons are much worse. I've watched hoping to actually play today. Yeah. I definitely watched a couple videos. I checked out the Traverse Tavern guys the other day. He was streaming. And then I think Be Our Guest also had something new, if I believe. Something was posted that I had seen come up on the feed, and I checked that out too. The cards all seem good. I haven't seen anything from yesterday, so I haven't seen Ariel or anything like that yet. But yeah, I mean, some of these cards are definitely playable. Some of these cards are unplayable. So yeah, okay. Well, you didn't get this right, and that's okay. That's okay. I mean, listen, I didn't get to try in the new ramp. So yeah, I think some of these cards are pretty defining. I mean, obviously Grab Your Sword is, in my opinion, the best of the bunch. The fact that you have Tinkerbell and you have Grab Your Sword, they're both so very powerful, and it really, the way this game is played, and like the low amount of resources that you can gain, like through drawing cards every turn and things like that, like it's so hard to lose multiple cards to 1 card. And that's what both of these cards represent. And it's really difficult. I mean, I was already 3 for 1ing people with Tinkerbell, and she was still around, which is scary. But this card is just another one. It's just another layer of having this ability to like, yep, I'm just going to flip the game completely upside down, and we're all going to feel really, really bad about it. So I obviously with cards like this, like cards this strong, like Grab Your Swords, it only means there's more cards coming. I mean, there's no way that this card, in my opinion, will end up being the most powerful card revealed in the latter half. But right now, there's a lot of cards that have come out, and there'll probably be a lot more cards that come out that just, they won't look nearly as insane as this one. But I have hope, because like all of the songs truly have looked really good, or most of them have looked really good. And obviously, like Friends and Grab Your Sword are probably more a bit of a standout. But, Let It Go is a very good card. Be Our Guest is a very good card. So I'm really enjoying how powerful the songs are, and like the fact that you can double down on the concept of, on the concept of I can just tap my guy, like the fact that you can just like literally exert your character, have all this power because of that, and then have all this resources still is such an incredible mechanic in the game. Like songs are absolutely one of my favorite parts. I covered this on the last podcast, but this singer ability that we just gained, this singer keyword, is really exciting. I really hope that there's like 10 cards with the ability of singer that haven't been revealed yet, which would be really cool. I don't know if we'll get that many, but I hope we do, because this is a really cool mechanic. Swords are a really cool, staple for this game. So anything that like enhances them is just even better in my opinion. And I'm really, really excited. So I'm definitely, I'm happy that we're at where we're at. I think there's plenty more to come, as pointed out by B Squared here. Like, I think we have got some more exciting. There has to be, right? I mean, there's still 95 cards left or something like that. Like, so while we've gotten some real bangers lately, which is fun, the new keyword, which is great. We've gotten a lot of fun stuff like coming out and really enjoying it. But there's still a lot of cards left. There's still a lot of love. There's still a lot of fun that can definitely come with this, which is what I'm really excited about. And I'm sure today we'll even get more, if we're being honest. But all in all, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in stream today. I had a fun one. As long as we are good without full cycles of vanilla, yes. I don't think we're going to get full cycles of vanilla. It's okay. If you hung out today, thanks so much for commenting and being a part of the stream. It means a lot to us as we continue here to grow. If you're not yet, you're hanging out in chat, you're watching this after the stream, let me know what your favorite card of these 7 were. There was a lot of excitement here. New keyword, insane songs, all of those fun things. So let me know in the comments what your favorite card was. And of course, as always, if you're not, hit the subscribe button, hit a like on this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.